Some of the greatest athletes in the world have altered their way of sleeping in order to get greater recovery as well as enhance their performance when competing. They have abandoned the traditional way of sleeping in one big chunk at night and instead divided it into more than ones, and there are some pretty interesting reasons as to why. So in this video I'll explain polyphasic sleeping and how it can benefit you. So polyphasic sleep is in the simplest terms sleeping in more than one phase, opposed to monophasic sleep, which is what most people do, sleep in one big phase at night. And sleeping more than once a day might seem to be a weird new idea, but in fact polyphasic sleep is as old as it gets, and many animals do it naturally, as well as humans, at least at first. Newborn babies are generally polyphasic before being trained to sleep all in one at night. But one person who brought the concept of polyphasic sleeping into the world of sport was Nick Littlehales, as he was convinced it would improve and optimize athletes' performance and ability to recover from their intense and tight schedules. And he claims that 8 hours of continuous sleep isn't suited to many people, as it creates unnatural rhythms and leaves workers at their most tired between 1 and 3 p.m. during the day. He suggests to listen to the body's internal clock and break the sleep up into 2 or more phases rather than one big one. And Nick has studied and improved the concept of polyphasic sleeping over the years and started working with Manchester United back in the 1990s and helped players such as David Beckham early in his career. He's also worked with Olympic athletes, British cycling team Sky as they had success in Tour de France, NFL team Miami Dolphins amongst others. And once Real Madrid saw the results Nick Littlehales brought to the athletes who implemented his concept, they invited him to share his sleeping philosophy to the team. And this was also the first time he linked up with 4 times Ballon d'Or winner Cristiano Ronaldo. And since then Ronaldo has become a polyphasic sleeper and has divided up his sleeping to more than one part of the day. But to understand how polyphasic sleeping works, we have to first be familiar with circadian rhythm, which is sort of an internal 24-hour clock that's operating constantly deep within the brain. It's responsible for regulating our internal systems such as sleep, hormone production, eating habits, temperatures, etc. And it has evolved to work in harmony with the Earth's rotation. And unsurprisingly, during the nighttime we reach the optimal sleeping period, which is shown to be around 2 to 3 a.m. Maybe more surprisingly is that this period is also mirrored, and if you ever feel sluggish or tired around 2 p.m, that's because your body adjusts for sleep by lowering the body's temperature amongst other things. And some people in European countries have adapted to this by taking siestas, and you will see most shops and restaurants closed during these hours on the day, because the majority of the people are taking their midday nap, with the hot weather also being a factor here. And Nick's successful concept of polyphasic sleeping, called R90 or Recovery 90, is based around cycles of sleep per week rather than hours of sleep per night. He counts 90-minute cycles where you should preferably get 5 90-minute cycles of sleep per day, which in perfect conditions equals to 35 cycles per week, but no less than 28. And there are 3 preferable slots during the day to get these cycles in for optimal sleep and recovery that aligns with the circadian rhythm. The first and most effective one is not surprisingly at nighttime, and more specifically to be at deep sleep at around 2 to 3 a.m. The second one is the mirrored one at 2 to 3 p.m. and the third one is late afternoon around 5 to 7 p.m. I have yet to confirm Ronaldo's exact sleeping schedule, but he is rumored to go for a lie down 5 times a day according to British newspaper The Sun. However, it doesn't seem likely considering his tight training and game schedule, and I would presume that he has 2 or 3 lie downs. So a normal day in Cristiano Ronaldo's life could look something like this. He goes to bed at midnight to get 3 cycles in and wakes up at 4:30. He's then up until around 1 p.m. and gets another cycle in to wake up at 2:30 p.m. And after that he gets his last 90-minute rest from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Now again, these are not actual numbers but just me speculating. Now obviously for us normal people it's not as simple as just writing numbers down and following them, as most of us have hurdles that prevents us from sleeping during these times. However, the athletes Nick works with have pretty flexible schedules and are able to slot these sleep cycles in without worrying about a boss catching them sleeping on the job. And most of them still get the majority of their sleep at night. So his guidelines for optimal sleep looks as follows. Go outside more to experience more natural daylight rather than artificial light. Avoid blue light such as phones and other screens in the evening, and especially 90 minutes before sleep. Wake up the same time every day 90 minutes before your duties. And this is not the same thing as going to bed the same time every day, even though that would be ideal. If you are unable to get back to bed in time for your regular cycles, stay up for the duration of that 90-minute cycle and instead insert that cycle later on the day or week. Try to establish a pre and post sleep routine that stays the same and is easy enough to stick with for the long term. Pre-sleep should be about shutting down, breathing with your nose and downloading the day to avoid overthinking about it once you try to sleep. Post-sleep should get you started up without rushing anything. Stretching, walking and/or reading are examples here. And when it comes to your bed and more importantly the mattress, Nick suggests that thick, expensive mattresses cost more than they deliver, and the best mattress should be no more than 10 centimeters or 4 inches thick. And the only sleeping position you should master is the good old fetal position, but on your non-dominant side. So if you're naturally right-handed, you should sleep on your left side. You should also do so on a fresh sheet as often as you can. The temperature is another factor that is important to consider, and a cooler environment is dramatically more suitable than a hot one. He advises that the room should be no warmer than 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 to 18 degrees Celsius. And lastly, the bedroom should not be another extension of your living room. Remove unnecessary items that will stimulate your mind and instead keep it very plain and simple. A TV doesn't belong in the bedroom, but if you have one, turn it off on the evening to eliminate any standby lights. Now, of course, we all aren't super athletes with flexible schedules, and as a monophasic sleeper, you would shove all of those 5 90-minute cycles into one phase and get 7.5 hours of sleep in one go, and then power through the day without any naps. However, even though you, like most people, might be working during the day, there are tips you can follow to avoid the sluggishness that surely will ruin performance midday. Nick recommends you just take a break to disconnect and zone out for 30 minutes around 2 p.m. And the same goes for the later one around 5 p.m. To avoid getting too much rest before sleeping at night, try to aim for no more than 30 minutes here as well. So there you have it guys, pretty fascinating stuff, right? And the majority of the information in this video comes from Nick Littlehale's book Sleep, which I highly recommend. You can also get it as an audiobook for free if you sign up to Audible using my link. It's a 30-day free trial and you'll be able to get any two books for free. And you can cancel the membership anytime and still keep the books. So I'll leave the link for that in the description below. I'll also link the other references for this video below if you want to read more about it. And thank you for watching the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, leave a dislike if you thought it was shit, and I'll see you in the next one. See you!